The Catholic Morning Show on Iowa Catholic Radio.
It is. It is a good morning indeed. It's a penitential morning. Ash Wednesday, of course. But I think I speak for a lot of people to say looking forward to Lent, right? You get that post-holiday doldrums and things kind of seem just like they're walking along. And all of a sudden Lent comes along to give purpose, give shape to what we're up to. It's early in Lent because, of course, it's day one, Ash Wednesday. It's early in the day, Ash Wednesday. So it's easy to talk about how looking forward to it we've been, about fasting and getting into our Lenten plans. Maybe don't ask me at 8 p.m. later today. Maybe I won't be as gung-ho. But for right now, all of you listening this morning, blessings on Ash Wednesday, blessings on your Lenten practice. Let's go and get walking for 40 days towards that beautiful Easter celebration. This is the Catholic Morning Show. I'm Bo Bonner, your host. Matt Wilkham, Ayden, Pugh, and Alexia Baker, all rounding out the studio. Happy you're listening today. On the second half of the show, we're going to be speaking with Emily Jaminet, who, of course, comes about every month to have a segment here with us. Let's turn now to our interview with Katie Prejean McGrady, wife, mom, award-winning author, international speaker, podcast, and radio host. You've obviously heard her on the Catholic Channel. She has a new book out with her husband, Tommy, First Communion and Beyond, A Family's Guide to Eucharistic Joy. Katie, thank you for coming on the Catholic Morning Show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, Katie, you are a busy woman indeed. You do all sorts of stuff. People can, of course, interact with all sorts of media, of which you are doing so much great work. When it comes to writing a book and then deciding to do one with your husband, what was that sort of decision like? What was the sort of impetus, and what did it feel like to get back to the old book writing?
Yeah, so we had taken a little bit of a break, and then the two that I had written before this one were actually with Tommy. So the last 4 books that I've published with Ave have all been combos with my husband. So basically, since I've had kids, I just write books with him now. We have kids together, we write books together, everything's good. But this one really came from a place of, as we were going through second grade with our daughter Rose and helping her with her own formation, and we just realized this is an evangelization opportunity for parents. So many second grade teachers in Catholic schools or DREs, catechists, pastors, whatever leader of the religious education and sacramental formation position a person holds, they have in front of them kind of a captive audience with mom and dad. And then we don't really give anything to mom and dad other than like an info sheet of a dress code and a time to show up for the first communion or for the first reconciliation. And so we walked out of an info meeting empty-handed, knowing only that, this is the date, knowing that obviously some things were going to be talked about at our Catholic school with her, and she was going to be formed, but we wanted to create something so that moms and dads could also help in that process. And I'll be totally honest here, they need to take the lead in that process because we are the first educators of our children. And so we kind of realized, well, if we're doing this together with our kids, then maybe we should just write the book together as well.
Well, one of the things, too, that I noticed, and, I've had the chance to talk about being involved in making books, right? Like when you do books, when you talk to books, all the people involved, one of the things, of course, is cover art. And sometimes that's just like a way to let people kind of know what's going on. But I think something very telling on yours, First Communion in white, in a sort of standard font, but then in cursive, standing out very well, is "and beyond." And I'm guessing that is some of what motivated you to get the book, is the "and beyond." Don't let this just stop with First Communion or the process of First Communion. What are we going to do, as you said, to take that time with the parents to really emphasize that this is for the "and beyond" and not just the event, not just the year?
Yeah, that's a great point. We have nothing to do with the cover. I have to give total props to the good folks at Ave Maria Press. They send them to us, and we're like, yeah, that looks good. The only thing I requested was the whole Eucharistic joy. But really, at the heart of these books is you're going to make your first reconciliation, you're going to make your first communion, and then the rest of your life is going to be spent going back to those two things, hopefully again and again. And so, mom and dad, how are you helping your child think about everything from, okay, what do I need to offer up to the Lord and ask for forgiveness for at the beginning of this particular Mass? Who am I praying for? What am I considering laying at the foot of the altar, at the foot of the cross, in the midst of this time of prayer? What am I saying to the Lord when I'm done receiving communion? Am I worthy to receive communion right now at all? All of those little things and those little moments throughout the course of the Mass, how do we help a kid think about that so that every time they go to church, whether it's a daily Mass at their Catholic school or their wedding someday, that every single Mass carries this great weight in their heart as this is a moment of communion, a moment of communion with the Lord, a moment of communion with my community. And as a family, one of the things Tommy and I noticed as we were writing the book is that Sunday Mass for us is like the anchor of the week. It starts the week and it kind of ends the weekend. We don't really feel like ourselves if we don't go to our normal 9 a.m. Mass at our parish and sit in our normal spot. We kind of have our own little quirks about how we get ready for church and what we talk about on the way over to church, and we get smoothies afterwards, right? Like every family hopefully can get into kind of a rhythm of the Mass is this foundational thing for our lives. And this book, it provides a lot of questions for moms and dads to ask of each other, to have really substantial conversations about what are we doing to get ready for it? What are we doing to set the stage for our kids to know that this is a priority? We wanted it to just be as eminently practical and helpful, and also kind of reveal that not every family's perfect. We all make a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of humor in this book of our own foibles and failures when it comes to things. But we can still kind of embrace this prioritization of praying together at the Mass as a family.
So, of course, you have the radio show that you do nationwide. You've been involved in SEEK conferences. There's all sorts of talk beginning to focus on this idea that among young people that we're starting to see, if not a total resurgence, we're seeing the seeds of a new harvest with young adults. Do you think that that's something that, while we're mindful of that, while we look out and we see teenagers and 20-somethings, that it's precisely getting the sort of things prepared for when they hit those parenting years, that's going to be one of the prudent things that the church needs to think of, is how do we help them with that next alley-oop, as it were, into the next phase of their life as Catholics?
Yeah, I've had such a great privilege, and it's a great point, Bo. I get to kind of see what happens when young people are dropped off at the Steubenville conference, when they get to go to the SEEK conference in college, when they're at college campus ministry Newman centers. I was just on the campus of Texas A&M a couple of weeks ago speaking at this event that they do every month called Magnify. And it was 1,200 college students on a Thursday night came out to hear a talk from a elder millennial mom and go to adoration. I was shocked. It was a school night, and they were all there. I was so pleased. And I actively had the thought, we do so much in these intentional moments of formation in young adulthood, in college, when they're seeking a spouse, when they're in high school, and they can make all sorts of retreats and maybe in a lot of places go to confirmation. But all of that is maybe fruitful as a high school student or as a college student or as a young adult. Hopefully, yes, because we're investing all these resources to kind of win back Gen Z right now. But I don't want to have to win back Gen Alpha. I want them to have just never left. I want the formation to have been solid from the jump. And we're seeing, I'm hoping, if millennials and Gen Z are starting to reinvest more and more in their faith or recognize this is a huge priority in my life, then as Gen Z and millennials are raising Gen Alpha or whatever comes after Gen Alpha, I don't know what the next one's going to be, Gen COVID maybe, that they will have this, that really steady foundation of I know what to do when I go to church. And when I say that, I'm not trying to be tongue-in-cheek, but like so many people go to Mass and they're like, I sit, stand, kneel, I say the things, but it's like, no, this is a moment of talking to the Lord, communion with the Lord. Here are things that we can say. Here's how we should consider what's going on. And so this book, it's really, it's less than 100 pages. It's 98 pages to hand to a parent and say, focus on this with your kids. It's 98 pages for a pastor or for a DRE or a teacher to be able to flip through and find some really good conversation starters with kids in the classroom to help them make this experience of communion, the first time and the beyond times, this massive priority in their life.
Well, wrapping up, that's what I was going to think of. You say elderly millennial. I always like to say baby Gen X, but whatever it is, we're of that sort of bridge group. that we've lived through big media changes, where it's radio to television to the internet to podcasts. And I think that even our books sort of reflect this multimedia sort of environment that we have gone through life events in. And so I think that that's with this last minute, I think that that's what I would commend about how you write the books. It is a book, but it is a book very much informed by other media as well. And so hopefully that is an approach that people of generations younger than you and I can find approachable.
Amen. Yeah, it's got a Hallow audio series. It's got videos, and then we've got some fun podcast surprises coming as well. So, yeah, we really want it to be multimedia in the best sense of the word. The
book is First Communion and Beyond, A Family's Guide to Eucharistic Joy. It's with Katie McGrady and Tommy McGrady writing this together for the fourth time. The book is out by Ave Maria Press. You can go find it anywhere your favorite Ave Maria Press books are sold. Katie, thank you for coming on the Catholic Morning Show.
Thanks so much, Bo. I really appreciate it.
Blessings. We appreciate it as well.
Listen to the Catholic Morning Show weekdays at 7 a.m. Central on the Iowa Catholic Radio Network, iowacatholicradio.com, or the Iowa Catholic Radio app.